And we have won the game. We've gotten the win. We are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. Well, it wasn't easy. It was probably as tough as we kind of expected. It was never going to be a particularly easy match. But the result that we needed, the result that we probably deserved, to be honest. I think it was always going to be a very tough game for the Springboks. And I think that the conditions as well were always going to sort of suit a very much kicking game. And I think that as much as you can get upset about the kicking game. You can think that we can do more, but I think at the end of the day, it's just the reality of where we are as a team. And I think that the important thing is to go out and get results. At the end of the day, test matches and coach performances are judged on victories and results, and we got the result today. So it might not have been the most beautiful performance. It might just be but it's a victory. I think that a couple of big performances. I thought Francois Steyn was very, very good. One down, 1-2 to go, isn't it? Really. But before we start to get these player ratings going, we can't go for too much longer because we've got Lecania, who's hopefully, touch wood, going to be ready for the France game as well coming up. We need to get a man of the match poll going. So let me know who are your nominations for man of the match. We'll put obviously Francois Steyn, who was the official man of the match, but I want to know what are your nominations for man of the match? Who we going there? Where are we going with man of the match? Give me some names. Throw some names at me. Well, that's actually interesting to see because it's interesting how some people will say this guy for man of the match, and other people will sit there saying, no, he was terrible. That's why these player ratings are all very, very interesting. And I'm going to put the link to vote in the comments. So I've got a Quacker Smith nomination there from Cassius. It kind of says Jesse, which is interesting because I don't think Jesse played particularly well. So Ansi reckons Khaleesi for man of the match. I've got two Quacker man of the matches shouts there, so we'll put him in the runnings. So man of the match. Who was your man of the match? Right, so I've got Quacker Smith in there. I've got Francois Steyn. Of course, for Cobus Reinach, I did think he was pretty good off the bench. I must admit. Somebody says Eben there as well. So are we going just these two? Or we can just go two. I like to put more in, but we can just go these two. So that's the second nomination for Sia Khaleesi. I think those three are probably quite solid options. Are we happy with that? Should we go with those three options for Steyn, Quacker Smith, and Sia Khaleesi? Are we all happy with that? I'm assuming we're all happy with that. There we go. We're going to ask the community. I am asking your community. You are the community. So there we go. So you've got a poll in there. So start voting, and then we'll use that towards the end of the game. But now we've got to do player ratings. We've got 10 minutes to do player ratings. So unfortunately, we can't spend too much time on each time rating, but we'll try to go through them relatively quickly. But let's start with the front row as a whole, because I think we kind of feel like we have to judge the front row. And I think it's difficult because I think the starting front row probably didn't have the impact that they deserve because we didn't get enough scrums. I mean, they only had 2 scrums and they dominated both scrums. So I thought Oxen Chair, Bongi Manambi, and Trevor were pretty fantastic scrum-wise. If we're going to be very honest, probably Oxen Chair's worst game in a Springbok jersey, just discipline-wise, wasn't it? He just conceded quite a few penalties, doesn't he? Which is unfortunate because I thought that, I think that scrum-wise, he was brilliant. He was very physical. He made some very nice tackles, having said that. But his discipline was a bit of an issue, wasn't it? And I think if we go to penalties conceded, Oxenshare did concede 2. So it was a bit of a frustrating. So, I mean, look, I'll probably go with Ox, maybe a 5 or 6. I think you have to knock one down when you get a yellow card. It wasn't necessarily his fault, but he had, even in that move, he was being reviewed twice. But defensively, I thought he was very physical. He's nice. I mean, he doesn't get the nickname Ox for no reason. He made 1 carry, he made 6 tackles, he missed 1 tackle, but there were some pretty big tackles. I'm probably leaning around a 6 for Ox. I mean, what are we thinking? I thought that I think 5 would be harsh because I think he scrummed very well. The yellow, as I said, wasn't technically his fault. It was kind of a culmination and a continuation of several things. We don't have much time yet, so I'm putting it over 6 for Ox. Where we're sitting here, I'm seeing 7 from Grant Swartz. The average score is 7, so that's not too bad. I actually don't mind that. It's funny because we won, that'll probably average one more up than if we had lost. People would have probably said Ox at a 5, which is ironic. Yeah, I thought that. I thought Ox, yeah, it's just to see a couple of silly penalties, but overall, these three look like a very formidable starting lineup. Bongi as well, I suppose, was a little bit guilty sometimes discipline-wise. I was frustrated at when we conceded that penalty when Ellis Jenkins got it for holding on. I thought that Bongi could have done a lot better to have kept him out. But having said that, Bongi, I mean, he's typical Bongi, wasn't it? It was 7 tackles, not a single one missed, 3 carries. You also want a turnover, which I feel cancels that out. So Bongi, I'm probably sitting around a 7, and I think Trevor's probably getting a 7 as well. I thought Trevor was actually very, very good today. He had a very, very important turnover. He made all his tackles he had to make, 2 carries. He scrummed brilliantly when he did have to scrum. I thought Big Trev was very solid. He won a very nice turnover. So probably go. So where are we sitting? What do you guys reckon? Yes. So Mr. Farrell says 5 for the yellow, so that's for Ox. Contender records in Manami and Yakani gets 7. 6 for Bongi. His form has been really consistent later. 8 for Bongi. His lines were off the chart. See, that's where the interesting thing comes in, isn't it? I definitely want to give Trevor at least a 7 or an 8. Bongi, I can see people building a case for a bit of a 6 for Bongs. I'm going to go with 6 as an average, and the average score is 6. Yeah, I suppose it's probably fair. I thought Bongi was good at some times, and not great at others, but overall he was fine. I thought Trevor, he's playing some nice rugby at the moment. He really is playing some really fantastic rugby. I was very, very upset when I saw him staying down. I was wondering if that was the end of his game, but he did get through it. And I thought that, I mean, what did Trevor do wrong? When he had to make tackles, he made tackles. He's such a physical player. But and it was fantastic at the breakdown. So Mr. Foss says 8 for Trev. LB records a 7. Grant's going 8. Lungi's going an 8. Starting front row, don't offer that much outside scrimmaging. I'll disagree there. I think Oxen Chairs are probably the best ball carrier across all 4 props we had today. And Trevor's very good at the breakdown. So to say they can only scrum, I think is very harsh. And I think that Bongi Manami is probably one of the best line-out operators in the world. He just doesn't miss his man. He's so consistent when it comes to line-out. So I like the fact that there's calls for 8 for Trevor. I thought he was very, very good. I think 6.9. I think Trevor was much better than Ox, to be honest. I don't think Trevor put a foot wrong. Up against Wyn Jones as well. Yeah, I mean, he had one scrum against Reece Kerr, and then one scrum against a fresh Wyn Jones, who was the line starting Lucid, and he absolutely murdered them. These two were just everywhere, weren't they? Very, very solid performance. I mean, the amount of carries that I reckon Lewis got through. 14 tackles he made, missing only 5 carries as well. They're pretty relentless as players, those two. Evan Etzebeth, I thought, also grew into the game. I thought he started a bit slow, but he grew into the game. So I thought Lua Diallo was probably the better of the 2 locks. I wouldn't say Evan Etzebeth managed to sort of impose himself as much as he would have liked, but he made 9 tackles. He didn't miss a single one. I'll probably give them both 8, to be honest. I thought they were very, very good. Nothing wrong, really. I didn't think they could see too many bad penalties, anything like that. 6.9. Lua, I also think probably an 8. His line-out work is exceptional. He makes so many tackles. Very good outings by them. Very, very good outings. It's good to see Lua Diallo building up some steam. You know, he just looks a bit fitter. He looks a bit more sort of with it. I think we can see a bit more from Eben. Probably wasn't his best game, but it's Eben Etzebeth. He's got incredibly high standards, and next year he will be, a centurion when it comes to Test rugby. This man, I've been saying it for a while. Is there a player who has been more consistent this year than Siya Kolisi? Every single week, he is just dropping 8, 9 out of 10s every single weekend. I don't think I've ever seen Siya Kolisi play rugby this well, and so consistently. Every single game, he is making big tackles. He's making important tackles. He's captaining well. He's everywhere. And that's ironic that beginning of the year, we can all agree, and by his own admission, he said that he was off the pace. He said he wasn't playing well. He said he could feel he wasn't playing well. He couldn't quite sort of click. but he's now playing a lot more rugby since then. He's looking fit and he's looking absolutely fantastic. So chuffed with what I'm seeing from him. I think, as I said, I think he could generally be a contender for the Springbok Player of the Match. So I'm almost tempted to give Sierra a 9. Where we at? Probably an 8. I think you have to be pretty exceptional for. I don't. There was no 10 out of 10s today. For me, a 10 out of 10, we're talking hat tricks. We're talking like when you sit there and you think that could be the best player in the world based on our performance. That's when you start getting 10s. So I think let's give Sierra an 8 and see where everyone's gone. 7.3. It's the highest so far, which is fair. Kwaka as well. I think probably also an 8. I thought Kwaka was absolutely everywhere. Made some very important tackles, very, very important steals. 5 carries, 12 tackles. He missed 1 tackle, 2 turnovers, 1. That rip in the tackle was so important. You talk about big moments and big players play to big moments. That rip right at the end sealed the victory. It wasn't the penalty; it was that rip right in the end. Where if we had conceded a penalty and they got into points and they'd kicked it over, we would have lost that game. So it was a huge moment there. So I'll probably give Kwaka an 8 as well. 7.1. These two were outstanding. I thought these two really were outstanding. As has been mentioned by Hansi there, that try-saving tackle by Sia Khaleesi. It's interesting that these two are operating so well as flanks. People sitting there saying that they don't really complement each other. I thought Dwayne was solid, but nothing special. I wasn't quite but I think also we need to sort of adapt to a bit of a new Dwayne Vermeulen. He's not the marauding force he was 4 years ago, or 2 years ago even, at the 2019 World Cup. But he's Mr. Consistency, isn't he? He just does everything, and he doesn't make mistakes. That's what Dwayne offers you. He doesn't make mistakes. So I'll probably give Dwayne Vermeulen the 7. I mean, nothing incredibly special. 6.6 is probably about right. Herschel, I thought Herschel struggled today, to be honest. I think that he had a chance to start and try and make a statement. I think conditions didn't suit him. I think that, he is somebody that wants to dry ball. He wants to run around a little bit. So it wasn't the conditions that he would have liked. And I think he really did struggle. So I'll probably give Herschel a 5. Again, lowest rated so far, which I think is very, very fair. I think he did struggle, unfortunately. I think he had a couple of moments, but at the end of the day, his box kicking game is always going to count against him in the Springbok setup because it's his worst aspect, and it needs to be the most important aspect for a Springbok scrum half. So it's difficult. Pollard again, because his goal kicking was there, and they've been waiting for that. So, and also good to see a couple of kicks in behind. Probably the best game we've seen from Pollard this year. He kicked 100%. He tackled 100%. A couple of kicks in behind, which were nice. So I think Andre Pollard back to normality, wasn't it? Probably a 6 or a 7. Look, he wasn't very particularly imaginative, but it was nice to sort of see a little bit of kicks in behind. It was a little bit different. I'll probably go with a 7 for Pollard. I'm seeing a couple of 7s there as well. 5.2 is interesting. That's very interesting because he usually gets ranked quite high, even if he's had a poor game. Sometimes decision making was a bit poor, but I thought his goal kicking was there, and I thought he was much better than what we've seen so far this year. But it's interesting that he's actually probably gotten the lowest score here. So I'm interested in that. Pimps, yeah, he worked very hard, didn't he? So we need to actually wrap this up. So Makazula, I'm going to go with a 7. Didn't do anything wrong for me. Worked very hard, 6.5. I thought Dale Endy was pretty solid as well. Back to a 7 for me. 6.0, I can go with that. Lakanya, look, we need to get the ball more to him, but he finds a way of getting involved. He made some very important tackles. Again, probably a solid 7 for Lakanya. 6.9. We're there and thereabout. Jesse Creel, I was quite disappointed by Jesse Creel. I thought he had a chance to make a statement today, and I didn't think he really made it, didn't he? So I'll probably go with a 6 for Jesse. I just thought he was pretty bang average. 5.6. It's about right. I think that he got isolated that one time, and I was very pissed off about that because I thought that was poor. He dropped the ball twice. I thought him and Herschel were probably interesting that two of the 3 players that got a chance were pretty poor. Willem said we're going to give him a 6 because he wasn't on the park long enough, so we can't really rate him. Malcolm Marks was Malcolm Marks, wasn't he? Big tackles, solid line of work, scored the try. He was pretty fantastic today. Stephen Kitsoff, him and Vincent Koch, same thing, isn't it? They come on, they just do the business. 7 again. Franco Boston, I thought, was pretty average. We didn't really. I mean, he does what he does, doesn't he? He made tackles. He didn't slip a tackle. He wasn't on for very long. So, so I probably an average 6. Jasper Visa, same thing for me, an average 6. Nothing particularly special there. Yeah, pretty bang on. Kurbis, I reckon it's a 7. I thought Kurbis was very good off the bench, and I reckon that I would love to see him and Alton start next weekend against Scotland, because I think they'll find space, and I think they'll suit the Scottish sort of openness. Alton was barely on for sort of 12 minutes, so we'll give him a 6. It's chilled. That's fine. And Fast I thought was pretty exceptional. I thought that he came on and played very, very well. It was also interesting to see. We haven't quite seen whether he still has the pace and he's got the legs. So interesting to see if he does start on the bench again next weekend, or if we still look to try and build our 15 sort of depth. But France, we're probably going to give him an 8, don't we? 6.9, it's very, very harsh. It should be in the 7s. And I know we have rushed through the show, but unfortunately, we've got France starting pretty soon, so we've got to get allow Lacagna to take over. But we've got the poll going. 71 people have voted, and the man of the match for South Africa versus Wales, as voted by you, is France staying. Good stuff, France. Good enough to see. We're going to call it there, unfortunately. As I said, we've literally got France versus Argentina kicking off very soon. Please go and keep Lacagna Chongweni company. He's going to be back. He hasn't been here for a very long time. It's been a long time since he's done a watch log, actually. So it's not really cool to see that he's back. But job done as a Springbok supporter. We get to now go and enjoy hopefully some very open running from France and Argentina. I'll see you guys next time. We'll be live tomorrow as well for Scotland versus Australia, hopefully. I'll be live with my live show on Monday or Tuesday. I think hopefully we'll be able to get that midweek show going a little bit better next week. And then we have lots to talk about. Smash like on the video on the way out. Please do subscribe to the channel as well, as we try and chase 9,000 subscribers. And I'll chat to you guys all soon.